you realize that the start of your dream was starting to come true.
Greatest moment.
You know, the feeling you feel inside, your heart's beating. You know,
Yeah,
is this really
absolutely.
happening to me?
Absolutely. I see that when I love watching rookie athletes. We're both sports fans. When you see an athlete, you know, and trying to look calm, and you know his heart is pounding in his ears. And, you know, that's how I felt driving out there. Like, stay cool, doing deep breaths. Don't say anything stupid. Let them talk. You know, and it was just, I was just so excited. And when I walked in, I could see his smile on his face because he saw a kid who was just beaming, just electric to work there. And that's what he wanted. He didn't want a guy who called and said, you know, I'm much better than what you're offering me. Nobody wants to hear that from a guy in a small to medium market station. You want a guy to walk in there and go, thank you. I want to be here. Tell me what I can do. Give me more to do. And, you know, that wasn't just then starting out. To this day, I think maybe if there's a key to longevity for doing this for, God, like 35 years now, whenever they say, hey, would you want to? I say, be glad to. Show me how to do it. Hey, can you do extra? Could you do another show in another market? I'd be glad to. Show me how. We need you to upload podcasts of your interviews. You got it. Show me how to do it. And it's the only answer there is.
For me, I've known you for about 25 years, and WNEW at the time was just going from the switch from LPs to CDs at the time.
Right.
So to see you here now doing all the editing, the voice tracking, and everything is kind of phenomenal. It's a tribute to you. But you know, touch on this a little bit. And like I said, I've known you for a long time. You have a way of coming across on the radio to making it sound like you're somebody's friend. And that's something, I would say that you've always had your whole life, and you make a point to get across, because that's never changed about you, no matter how big you got, from overnights on WNEW to being, like the replacement for Scott Muni right now in New York City. You've never really changed about you. And I always tell people about Ken Dashow, what a great guy is. And I tell them how when I was a young student at college and an intern, you used to let me come on the air every now and then talk about the Jets or the Yankees. And that's never changed about you, the kind of person you are.
And thanks for lying to everyone, saying I'm a nice guy. I really appreciate that. But, it goes back to that, what you said about the magic that I heard of those guys on the air. They are Richard Neer, Pete Fornatale, Dennis Elsas, Dave Herman, Allison Steele, Scott Muni, even the weekend staff, that were there. Everybody was a real person. There was no jive. It was sincere. And that was the magic to me, along with the music, is to just talk to people like your friend in the car. And that's the greatest compliment when people come up to me and say, I listen, it's the music's the music. I could listen to my iPod, but when I drive home, I've got this long drive, I'm stuck in traffic, you're a friend sitting with me in the car, and you take the stress off my day. That's the greatest compliment you can give me. I'm not curing cancer. I'm not trying to cure cancer. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not feeding the homeless. I do everything I can for charity. But if somebody says, you made my day a little less miserable, that's the pebble that I try to do, that I try to give. And it doesn't matter with the days of records. This job was very, as you know, it was very mechanical. We had records, we had cart decks. It was like a train engineer. Now, this is the radio station. Every decision is made with this tool. But what you're trying to accomplish doesn't change. I'm still trying to accomplish the same thing of just be somebody's friend, share something funny about what happened in the day, whether it's A-Rod, whether it's the race for mayor, whether it's a goofy story, whether it's something sad that happens, to be able to share that as a real person, and you're not trying to be crazy and let's see how obnoxious I can be. If that's your act, that's your act. There's no joy in that for me. I would probably suck at trying to be obnoxious because I wouldn't do it well. Just being yourself is good.
The point is the technology's changed, but the preparation for being a DJ or a reporter or anything like that hasn't, in essence.
100% correct. How it gets delivered is the only thing that changes. The content, what it is that gets delivered, that's the most important thing. And that's just got to be sincere. You've got to just be yourself and communicate to the other person, as a friend. I think the great newscasters do that too. Even if they're reading news, why do you trust this guy when he says something more than that guy? There's just something about the way he says it. It's not his necktie. It's his tone. It's his attitude. You say, I like what this guy says. Walter Cronkite, they said to him, if he wanted to run for president, In '68 he would have beaten Nixon. In '72 he would have won by a landslide if he wanted to be the president, because America trusted Uncle Walter to tell them what was going on.
Uncle Walter over Tricky Dick? Come on. Let's take us now. You're on Long Island now. Talk about the path to WNEW.
So I go from Long Island to WAPP, and I'm doing nights at the Apple, and it's a commercial-free summer. We've got these great ratings, but the music was wrong. It was an out-of-town radio station happening in New York City. It was a great station, but it wasn't a New York station, and they didn't understand that in New York.
Explain that in New York station.
Sure. New York stations are stations that are big on Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel, and they don't play a lot of Midwest hard rock because that's not really who we are. We're Bruce and Billy, and Bon Jovi came along at that time. And, there's a lot more local art. We would play Elton John. You don't hear rock stations in the Midwest playing Elton John, but we do, because Elton John is such a New York fixture at Madison Square Garden. 20, 40, 50 shows? The Grateful Dead, 50 shows at Madison Square Garden. Stations in the Midwest don't play the Dead, nor should they. You should play in Detroit. You should play tons of Ted Nugent. You should play the MC5. That's your station. And I realized that they didn't understand this when they didn't play the new Bruce Springsteen Nebraska album or Billy Joel, Nylon, and I thought, they're not getting it. So I thought, okay, this is great for now, but this is a stepping stone. So I took all those WAPP tapes and pounding on the door at WNEW.
This is like a kid who plays baseball going to knock on the door of the New York Yankees or New York Mets. For
Right.
you to go knocking on the door of WNEW, to put it in perspective.
Oh, yeah, like you just got hired by, you just got a full-time gig. You're playing third base, say, for the Phillies. And and in the middle of your first season, you just keep pounding on the Mets or Yankees door going, please let me in. And friends thought I was crazy. Like, why would you even think of giving up a full-time job on the newest rock station in New York for a part-time job at the older station? Well, that was the past. This is the new. And, other life lesson is that was just about heart. I was definitely losing money. I would take a pay cut to go from full-time at WAPP to part-time at NEW. And APP was brand spanking new, and it was the darling of the radio world. And NEW had been around at that point for 15 years and had lost its luster. But I just thought that's the station that taught me everything. It's the station, the people I loved. If I could get there, I want to get there, and I'll let the chips fall where they may, take my chances.